set their house. You sit your ass down. Sit down. You set their house on fire. You did this, bro. Sit down, bro. Bro, sit down, bro. You set their house on fire, bro. Why would you do that, bro?
He said because they put him out. Because they kicked him out.
Who was it? People in there? That's the only person that was in the house? Who else is in there?
My nephew.
So he was a grown up or a kid?
What are you talking about?
We still. Is it a kid or an adult?
Okay, I'm back. So, y'all see the video. This happened in Detroit, unfortunately, but man ended up setting his family house on fire because they evicted him. At first, they said that somebody died in the fire, but then they went back and said that everybody did end up making it out safe. So that's a good thing. Shout out to that. But, you know, it's still messed up that the house got burnt down. So my point of making this video and why I want to touch on this, because like when I do these type of videos, I always like to be educational and to drop knowledge on what we can learn from this. And what we can learn from this is don't let nobody move in with you. I'm sorry. This is why I don't let family, friends, nobody move in with me, because it always end up being a problem. Some people is cool with their roommates and sometimes it work, but from my experience and what I see most of the time, living with somebody, it don't work. The only people you should be living with is your wife or husband and kids. Now, if you got to live with your parents, I understand that. That's kind of, especially if you young. Your mom or your dad, if you're all close, okay. But living with your cousin and brother sometime or sister even, living with your best friend, living with your uncle, living like, letting family members move in and trying to live with somebody, it always end up being a problem, in my opinion. If things, you know, good friendships always turn left for a lot of reasons, a lot of different reasons. Usually people ways is just different. And when you living with somebody, y'all can be cool, but when you got to live with somebody, it's different because the way that y'all look at the household might be different. You might be cleaner than they are. You might not like nobody coming in and out the house at all different times a day. You might not like to have company all of the time. Because I've seen this a lot. Like you might be one of the people, you don't like a lot of people over your house, but this person always want to invite people and have people over. Then we know the obvious one is that somebody always end up not paying their half of the bills. Somebody end up falling short. You end up having to cover. You know, that'd be one of the main reasons that most of the time people don't want to pay for nothing, or they don't have their half, or they not able to chip in on nothing. So we know that that causes a lot of arguments also. So I would recommend moving. And then, of course, just like this, trying to kick somebody out can always turn toxic and turn into a fist fight. I done got into a fist fight before with my brother because I tried to get him out my house. I tried to, you know, wasn't having it. I was trying to have my girl come over. He wouldn't leave. Like, you know, like that's what end up happening a lot of times. Like it always be something when you gotta, if you want to kick somebody out or get them out, then we know the law, you got to go to court, wait 30 days, you know, like it's all around toxic situation. Like imagine if you got to stay with somebody that you're trying to evict for 30 days. You don't know what they might do. Like, you know, out of spite, or they might try to leave and break something or steal something. Like, you know, like it's just all around a bad thing. I understand the economy and you got to do what you got to do, but this is why I always try to be on my shit. Like, and I realized like it's a wrap because it's always a bad experience. Because I didn't have to live with my boy before. You know, I didn't have to live with people before, and it always ended up going bad at the end. Like, you know, the longest I lasted was probably like 6 months to a year living with somebody, and you know, it always end up going bad. Y'all end up getting tired of each other. Like, it just, it's not nothing that's gonna work. And then if you do have to live with somebody, because this be the problem with that, people go live with somebody to get back on their feet to stack their money up, but people never stack their money up majority of the time or get on their feet. So that would end up being a problem too, is that you know you're supposed to be moving in with this person to get on your feet, but you're not really getting on your feet. Like you got to look at it like you homeless. Like you can't just be bullshitting around. Like you got to be working all the time. You should barely be there. And that's the thing. When I was last living with my boy, living with somebody, I went to school and work. So I woke up in the morning, went to school, got off. I had a couple hours before work. I come back, chill, eat, change my clothes. Then I'm going to work. Then by the time I get off, I'm going to sleep. Basically, that's how it should be when you living with somebody. Because, and then especially don't be somebody who you just at home all day. Like that should be the worst. Like the person go to work, you at home just playing the game or just chilling all day. That's gonna make anybody mad and anybody want to kick you out. You gotta realize that. And then of course you gotta, like you have to realize the situation that you in and take advantage of that and don't just use the situation because it's gonna end up going sour or going south. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, I wouldn't live with nobody unless I absolutely have to. And then, I've been homeless, sleeping in my car before. I'm gonna end up making a video and talking about that, how to survive being homeless and how to go from homeless to having your own place and all that type of stuff. But I could have stayed with my mom or one of my friends or something, but I said, fuck that. Because I knew I'm like, it's time to be a man. It's time to get it on my own. I'm not trying to live with nobody. I don't want nothing from nobody. I want to get it on my own, for one. And then two, I didn't want to deal with nobody bullshit. Because just like the saying go, it's better to live by yourself or it's better to live in a box that's yours than to stay with in a mansion that's somebody else's and y'all not getting along. Like, fuck all that. It's an extra headache. I was okay sleeping with my car. I still was able to control and do what I wanted to do. So, and then I ain't have to worry about dealing with nobody else bullshit because everybody got their own personality. Everybody got their own flaws. Everybody got their own thing that you're not going to like about them and all of that type of stuff. So, me personally, I wouldn't do it. Like, I know the economy fucked up, but this is just the era of you got to get on your shit and live within your means. Like, I would rather have like a roof over my head, and I had to make this decision before. Like, I would rather have my bills paid in my own place than to be going on vacation all the time. Buying clothes and buying material shit. While I'm living with somebody, because that's always been crazy. Like living with somebody but you always on vacation or buying material things, buying shoes and shit. Like that's dumb. Like, as you get older and like people that said before, it is the mature thing to have your bills paid, but you might not be able to buy the material shit versus having the material stuff, but not having the stuff that matters, like a car and a home. Like, like you better off that way. I'm sorry. If I had the choice between having my own crib and having my own car, but only having 2 pair of shoes and 2 outfits and or whatever like that, I'm gonna take having my own place because I done been in that situation. I done had my own apartment when I went from having homeless to having my own apartment. I only had like 1 or 2 pair of shoes, a couple outfits, like at first I didn't have no furniture. Like, like I had to build, but I was just so happy. I slept on the air mattress for like a month or two before I got a bed. Like, and I would rather have had that than to have had, a bunch of material things or went on a bunch of trips or dates or whatever, and then not have that. Like, like to me, you gotta have your priorities in order. But that's my point of the video is you can't let people move in. And I knew that about family members. Like, can you let people move in and then they don't want to leave? That's what it be. Like, people get comfortable and don't want to leave. Then it always turn into drama when you want to kick them out or you don't want them. The relationship always goes sour when you got to get rid of them because most people not going to move out on their own. It's only a few people who actually do what they got to do to move out on their own. So it's inevitable. And just to say from that drama of having to kick them out, Like, I want to save all of that drama and just not let them move in at all. Like, shit, sleep in your car, shelter is messed up. You might love your family or your friend, but you got to know that, and that's what you could tell them to. And that's what I would probably tell somebody like who try to move in with me, like just to save our relationship. I don't think that's a good idea. It's really that simple because, things go sour when you live with somebody, and I don't want us to fall out. And they should understand that because most people know that that's true. So that's how I would look at it. Like, tell them, like, shit, I'm trying to save our relationship. So no, you can't move with me. So that's my opinion and how I feel about it. Don't let nobody move in with you. If you have to move in with somebody, be on your shit. All right, and I'm out.